Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, and today we're going to discuss the bane of everyone's existence at the moment in Battlefield 2042, the new stealth helicopters. I've noticed recently that every time I feature a clip of me going ham in one of these things, people in the comments are like, WTF mate, those things are OP, and they're not wrong. They're like the gunnacy of an attack heli combined with the Battlefield 1 bombers, and they almost have the same maneuverability as a Nightbird. The vehicle balance right now is just a complete shambles. Why would you pick any other vehicle at this point when you can effectively have them all rolled into one as a stealth heli? So let's get into what makes them so good and what DICE can potentially do to fix them without getting rid of them altogether, because they are quite cool. I don't think anyone wants to see that happen. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to deal with them and kill them from a pilot's perspective. If you do enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like below and feel free to subscribe. So let's deal with the most obvious part here, stealth mode. So as most of you know, when you activate stealth mode, you cannot be locked on by enemy AA missiles from infantry or enemy vehicles. However, it does come at a price. You lose your primary and secondary weapons, but you also gain a set of bombs. Now the bombs themselves do tons of damage to infantry and vehicles alike, and they can be dropped in a few different ways. You can do carpet bombing with them over a line of targets, very effective for killing infantry, or you can angle the trajectory to stack all of the bombs in the same location, which is better for taking out a stationary large target like a tank, for example. Now I think the main problem with stealth mode isn't necessarily the power of the bombs, because whilst they are quite powerful, they have a lengthy reload time, and once you drop them, there's literally nothing you can attack with until they reload, right? It's more the nature of stealth mode preventing lock-ons, and this combined with flares that is frustrating infantry players. So these helicopters will either wait until they get locked on or targeted by Rouse hack, they'll pop flares, and then they will go and line of sight the lock-on just like any other helicopter would. But this is the difference. Whilst other helis would have to stay put out of the battle whilst their flares recharge, the stealth heli can simply switch to stealth mode whilst they let their flares come up again. And then you're free to, come straight back into the fight in stealth mode, drop your bombs, and by the time you've done that, your flares will have recharged. You can drop stealth mode and then you're good to go again, right? The cycle repeats itself. So I think stealth heli's defensive capabilities, let's say, really need addressing. But before we get into what can be done there and what I think DICE should do, let's talk about the other aspect that is just absurdly overpowered: the 30mm cannon pods. Those of you who experienced Battlefield 2042's release may remember the attack helicopter's pilot seat, not the gunner, the pilot seat, having access to a 30mm fixed nose cannon that was just way too powerful. Perhaps others of you have blanked out the trauma, but eventually DICE nerfed it and we thought they learnt their lesson. Apparently not, because this is exactly what the 30mm cannon pods are. As you'll see from the footage, there's no ammo, you just need to burst it to prevent it from overheating, so the onslaught never stops, it does massive damage, and the splash damage is so huge, even my cat could get some kills with them. Once again, DICE have learnt absolutely nothing from the obscene power of the Nightbird's rocket pods. I've said it so many times, DICE, weapons that require aim and skill should be the effective ones. Weapons that don't require high skill, like the 30mm cannon pods here, should be weaker and the worse overall choice for an experienced pilot. But what do we see if we look at the alternative here? The starting weapon is actually a couple of heavy machine gun pods that, just like the Nightbird miniguns, are very hard to aim with and get kills with and do less damage than the cannon pods. The only advantage they have, in fact, is that they shred air vehicles a little bit faster. Now, you would be forgiven for thinking, You know, that's it. That's the weak spot. The 30mm cannon pods are trash at taking out enemy aircraft and therefore make you vulnerable against, say, a Nightbird, right? And that's how they've balanced them. Wrong. Whilst they don't do quite as much damage as the heavy machine guns, they can actually blow the enemy pilot out of the cockpit with the splash damage. You can even kill enemy passengers inside transport helis. So what you have is a helicopter that decimates infantry. They destroy armor with their bombs. They have 2 defensive capabilities. They have very effective anti-air with the cannon pods and AA missiles as their secondary, let's not forget. And then on top of all of that, they are way more agile than the normal attack helicopters. So all that being said, what do DICE need to do here? Well, to start with, the 30mm obviously need a nerf. I think the best way to nerf them would simply be to give them limited ammo that has to replenish, like you see with other weapon systems in 2042. You know, okay, if you're going to have these powerful 30mm cannons that anybody can use, fine, but make it so there is a long reload time and the pilot will therefore have to disengage every once in a while. Alternatively, you could just nerf the splash radius or the overall damage. I would also look at buffing the heavy machine guns that actually reward accuracy and are difficult to use, because right now they're just simply trash and you will never ever have a reason to pick them once you unlock the 30mm cannon pods. Now the next aspect they need to address is the overall survivability. Having both flares and stealth mode available, in my opinion, it gives you too many options. I don't think they can outright just take flares away, because then you have no defense at all against Rao's hacking suite, and you know, let's face it, you would need to basically just stay in stealth mode the entire time. But maybe if when you pop flares, that would cancel your ability to use the stealth mode altogether, right? So you're not able to make use of both countermeasures at the same time. Alternatively, they could also look into increasing the cooldown of the flares. I mean, that only seems fair to me if you get 2 countermeasures that they have longer cooldowns than, say, the Nightbird or attack heli flares do. Now finally, I did promise you guys some tips for taking them down. So first of all, just like any helicopter, if you use a lock-on launcher or Rao's hacking, that heli is going to pop flares. They're going to go and hide behind an object like a mountain to recover, and if they don't do that, then they're probably just a bad pilot and you got lucky. He'll then most likely switch to stealth mode and go on a bombing run, and this is the time that you should strike. If you can manage to knock them out of stealth mode while their flares are still on cooldown, they'll be vulnerable to lock-ons. Now, as mentioned before, Rao's hacking can achieve this, and it's definitely a good idea to switch to Rao if you can tell that there's a skilled stealth heli pilot on the enemy team, but you can also knock them out of stealth by disabling a part of the helicopter, like the rotor, for example. So the armor-piercing rounds of the NTW-50 sniper can do this, the Wildcats AA cannons can do it as well, and honestly the Wildcats are very effective against stealth helis. Not only do their AA cannons shred stealth helis and knock them out of stealth mode, but that also means they then cannot bomb you, and they will also be susceptible to AA missiles. Now, if you want to be a real man or woman and not rely on AA launchers to take down helis, the M5 launcher will one-shot any stealth helicopter regardless of mode, no questions asked. Liz's TV missile will two-shot one, but more importantly, that too will break stealth mode. So if you can hit one with a TV, they'll be very low on health, around 30 or so, and they'll be knocked out of stealth mode. Now, if you guys need any tips on using Liz's TV missile, I did in fact make a guide on that, and I will link that up in the corner there. So hopefully that helps somebody out there who has perhaps never flown the helis and doesn't really realise how the stealth mode actually works, and more importantly, how it can be disabled. Now, you guys know me, I'm a vehicle player. I've always enjoyed vehicles in Battlefield games, but only if I've had to work for it. You know, the same way that getting a 10-man flank as infantry is rewarding, because you aimed well and you had good map knowledge and you just executed a play perfectly. You know, that was how vehicles used to feel to me. They needed so much skill that when you did go on a nice little kill streak, it was really rewarding. But in Battlefield 2042, that is just not the case. You can rack up tens of kills with little effort at all. It feels very unrewarding, everybody hates you for it, and that is honestly the case with the stealth helis right now. It's been the case with the Nightbirds too, and it just seems to be a bit of a theme with the vehicles in this game, honestly. So hopefully DICE check this video out and do something about them. If you guys want to help support this idea, leaving a like does help boost the video a little bit, and of course, you know, any shares on social media always increase the chance that DICE sees this. Guys, leave me your thoughts and comments below on the stealth helis. Where do you stand on them? What do you think of my proposed ideas? And what would you do to fix them? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.